Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a concept that, honestly, at first glance, seems almost deceptively simple. It's called the let them theory.
Mm-hmm.
But as we, really dug into the source material for this deep dive, I found myself just nodding along, realizing how profound and, frankly, liberating these two little words can actually be.
Right.
Have you ever felt just completely exhausted trying to manage everyone else's feelings, their expectations, what they think of you?
Oh, constantly.
Yeah, right. Have you ever just wished you could just let it all go?
Absolutely.
Well, this deep dive is really custom tailored for you because we're exploring how this theory, and it's grounded in solid science and real-world experience from a very renowned expert. It offers not just a philosophy, but a truly practical guide for personal liberation.
That's the core of it. Liberation.
Yeah, it's about reclaiming your peace, your energy, and really your life. I'm really looking forward to exploring this with you today.
Me too. It's truly fascinating, isn't it? Because this isn't just like a kitschy phrase you stick on a Post-it note.
Right.
It's a profound shift in how we relate to the world and, maybe more importantly, how we relate to ourselves. So at its heart, the let them theory is really the practice of releasing that deep-seated need we seem to have to control other people's perceptions.
Okay.
Their reactions, their expectations of you. Think of it like consciously deciding to put down a really heavy backpack you didn't even realize you were carrying.
Oh, I like that visual.
Yeah, and by doing that, you empower yourself to shift that focus entirely inward. You start channeling your precious energy towards your own well-being and your own intentional actions.
So it's not about not caring.
No, absolutely not. That's a common misconception. It isn't about becoming indifferent or uncaring. Actually, it's quite the opposite. It's a radical act of self-preservation.
Okay.
And ultimately self-liberation. You're freeing yourself from this huge, often invisible burden of constantly trying to manage external emotions or judgments.
It's a powerful acknowledgement of where your control truly begins and, crucially, where it ends. It's about drawing a very clear line in the sand. They get to be them, and you get to be you.
Okay, so to really get the full impact of this, we kind of have to start with the origin story, because it's rooted in a period of really intense personal struggle.
Right. The backstory is key here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our guide for this journey, Mel Robbins, she found herself at like a true rock bottom. This was when she was 41. Picture this. $800,000 in debt, unemployed, watching her husband's restaurant business just crumbling, facing foreclosure on their home.
Just devastating.
Totally. She describes feeling like they had utterly failed at life.
Right.
There was no hope of ever escaping that mountain of debt.
Wow.
And she's looking around, watching friends find success after success, while her family's struggling to put groceries on the table, barely able to pay for anything.
A comparison trap. It's brutal.
Oh, totally. And she tried everything. She was a public defender, a corporate lawyer. She launched several startups that all failed.
She even had stints as a life coach, a radio host, and get this, even owned a paint-your-own pottery studio.
Wow, she really tried a lot of different paths.
Yeah, she was just utterly lost, feeling like nothing she did would ever be enough to dig them out of the hole they were in. It's that, that universal feeling, isn't it, of being stuck in quicksand, watching everyone else seemingly just effortlessly walk on solid ground.
Absolutely, that feeling of just sinking.
But then, right in the middle of all this desperation, something she calls it almost silly, popped into her head.
Okay.
She remembered watching a rocket launch on TV, that powerful, irreversible countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right, that launch sequence.
Yeah. And she thought, what if I just counted backward like that and launched myself out of bed?
Huh. That simple.
It sounds absurd, right? Especially given the magnitude of her problems. But she was just desperate for any glimmer of hope. Any little thing. So the next morning, she actually did it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and she physically launched herself out of bed. She didn't stop to think about how tired she was or how much she dreaded facing her problems.
It just moved.
She just moved before her brain could talk her out of it. It's like she says, like a rocket launch. Once that countdown starts, there's no turning back. It kind of bypasses that analysis paralysis that keeps us all trapped sometimes.
That makes sense. You override the hesitation.
Exactly. And she started applying this simple, almost silly rule just everywhere. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up when the alarm rings. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pick up the phone and start networking for a job.
Wow.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, open those bills that had been piling up for months, just, silently mocking her from the kitchen counter.
Takes courage.
Totally. She called it the 5-second rule. Now, it wasn't a magic wand. The next couple of years were still incredibly hard. Clawing out of debt, facing marital issues, trying to quiet that anxiety, pushing through self-doubt, updating resumes, looking for jobs when you're questioning your own value. It was a real grind. But the core lesson she learned was profound. Action is the answer. Thinking about problems doesn't solve them. Waiting until you feel motivated means you'll probably never start.
That's a hard truth.
It is. Her stark realization was, no one is coming to save you. You must save yourself from yourself. That's a powerful, almost jarring realization, isn't it?
It really is.
It strips away that, comfort of waiting for a savior, but in doing so, it hands you the ultimate agency. Listener, think for a moment. Where are you maybe still waiting for someone else to save you from a challenge only you can actually tackle? What's the smallest launch you could initiate today?
Yeah, that's a great question.
It was all about forcing herself to make small, consistent moves, even when every fiber of her being just resisted.
It's incredible, isn't it, how such profound shifts can emerge from those really unexpected moments of vulnerability and, well, sheer desperation.
Right.
The 5-second rule really became a foundational concept for personal agency. It was, a crucial precursor to the let them theory itself. It proved that you have the power within you to force yourself to act, even when your emotions are just screaming no. Interestingly, she was initially really reluctant to share this rule, partly because she didn't fully understand why it worked scientifically at the time, and also because she felt like, who was she to give advice given her own massive struggles?
Right, the imposter syndrome.
Totally. But that all changed at one of the very first TEDx conferences ever held. She was asked to speak on career change. She was terrified, apparently had like a 21-minute anxiety attack right there on stage.
Oh my God.
And just blurted out the 5-second rule at the very end because she literally couldn't think of anything else to say. She even gave out her personal email. She thought it was the absolute worst experience of her life.
Wow. Talk about vulnerability.
Right. But then about a year later, that video just unexpectedly went viral. It became one of the most watched TEDx talks of all time.
Yeah.
Just spreading globally by word of mouth. Yeah. And people started writing to her. Thousands and thousands of stories just poured in, detailing how this simple rule was changing their lives. People using 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to change jobs, lose significant weight, get sober, launch and sell businesses.
That's incredible.
Even stories of people stopping themselves from attempting suicide and reaching out for help instead.
Yeah.
It was truly blowing her away. It just demonstrated this universal struggle we all have with motivation and self-doubt and how a simple solution could work for so many. But despite the incredible power of this internal action, this getting yourself to move, a deeper question started to emerge for her over the years, especially as she saw people still really struggling in their relationships. The question was, why do I need to constantly force myself to move forward? Why am I so afraid of failing? What exactly is in my way when it comes to other people?
The external piece.
Exactly. That introspection eventually led her to realize that relationships are the #1 factor determining our happiness and health. And that's where the next breakthrough, the let them theory, truly takes root.
That's incredible how a personal crisis could lead to such a universal tool, but it makes me wonder, for someone listening right now who's perhaps already, applying the 5-second rule for their own internal stuff, their own struggles, what's the next logical step? How do you move from mastering your own actions to then managing the sometimes overwhelming impact of others in your life?
That's precisely where the let them theory steps in. It's the perfect follow-on. The 5-second rule is about getting yourself to act.
Right.
The let them theory is about getting yourself to let go of what you simply cannot control, particularly when it involves other people.
Okay.
It's the next logical layer of personal liberation, really, moving from that internal friction to achieving external freedom.
Okay, so we've talked about the internal shifts, the personal breakthroughs, but now to understand the true spark of the let them theory, we have to go back to a moment that, for Mel was probably just pure parental chaos.
Probably felt like it, yeah.
But for us, became the ultimate breakthrough moment. Tell us about Oakley's high school prom, because that's apparently where this whole phenomenon really began.
Oh, it's such a perfect, totally relatable anecdote. So Mel recounts her son Oakley's prom. Now, she'd already navigated 4 proms with her 2 daughters, so she kind of expected Oakley's to be a breeze.
Famous last words.
Exactly. But, as often happens with teenagers, right, it was a last-minute scramble the tux, the special sneakers he had to have, finding a date just 48 hours beforehand.
Oh my gosh. Typical.
Totally typical. And Mel, like, so many parents, felt that underlying urge to manage things, to smooth everything out, to make sure it was all perfect.
Yes, I can instantly picture that scene, that frantic energy, the desire to control every single variable. I think we've all been in situations where we want something to go a certain way, right? A family event, a work project, even just a social gathering, and we try to orchestrate every little detail.
Absolutely. We just can't help ourselves sometimes. And for Mel, the moment of revelation, or maybe pre-revelation, hit right before they were heading out the door. She had lovingly made this beautiful corsage for Oakley's date, went to a local flower shop, researched the trends, took the time to pick it up. Real effort.
Okay.
Oakley, meanwhile, nervous and probably oblivious, takes one look at it and flat out refuses it. Says his date didn't want one.
Ouch.
Right. And Mel, trying to be helpful or maybe just a little controlling, let's be honest, insists on bringing it anyway, just in case.
Oh, no.
You can just imagine the scene. Oakley shooting her that look, his date already wearing her own corsage that she preferred, and Mel feeling like she just wanted to evaporate.
Been there. That instant flush of embarrassment.
It's that common moment, isn't it? Parental overreach, driven by good intentions, but hitting that solid wall of teenage autonomy.
And then it got worse, didn't it?
Oh, it did. So just as they were about to take the pre-prom photos outside, a sudden torrential downpour started. Like buckets.
Oh, perfect timing.
Right. Nobody had an umbrella. Everyone was going to get absolutely soaked. But that didn't really faze the kids. What did faze Mel, though, was overhearing them discuss their dinner plans. Or rather, the lack thereof. They wanted to go to Amigos, which she describes as this tiny taco joint the size of a shed. Definitely not big enough for 20 kids decked out in black tie.
Oh, dear.
So all the parents, including Mel, immediately went into frantic fixer mode, searching for reservations on their phones, trying to salvage the situation and find someplace proper.
The parental rescue mission.
Exactly. And that's when her daughter, Kendall, who was home from college, intervened. She apparently grabbed Mel's arm, looked her right in the eyes, and delivered the core message. Mom, if Oakley and his friends want to go to a taco bar for pre-prom, let them.
Wow. Straight up.
Mel naturally pushed back, worried about them getting soaked, about Oakley's brand new sneakers getting ruined, about their grand prom night being somehow less than perfect.
Yeah, the vision crumbling.
Right. And Kendall, with the wisdom of like a seasoned let-them practitioner, just exasperated but totally insightful, repeated, Mom, let them get soaked. Let them get ruined, Mom. You're being annoying. Let them show up to prom in wet tuxedos and dresses. Let them go eat where they want. It's their prom, not yours. Just drop it.
Mic drop from Kendall.
Seriously.
And so Mel did. It's truly fascinating what happened next. She just handed Oakley $40 for Amigos, wished him an awesome prom, and then watched as he and his date just ran out into the pouring rain, splashing mud all over her gown and his new sneakers.
Wow. She actually let go.
She did. And she realized profoundly in that moment she didn't care. She wasn't consumed by anxiety or disappointment or trying to fix it. She was just free.
That's powerful.
And the video of this exact moment, which Kendall happened to capture, went totally viral. 15 million views in 24 hours, 60 million in a week. It spawned countless stories, blog posts, people even getting let them tattooed.
No way, tattoos.
Yeah. This universal resonance, this immediate and profound impact, is what truly inspired Mel to deep dive into the theory and eventually write about it. It resonated because so many of us are trapped in that exact same cycle of trying to manage everything and everyone around us.
That anecdote really truly captures the essence of the let them mantra, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about acknowledging your fundamental inability to control or change another person, period. You simply cannot dictate their choices, their perceptions, their reactions, or their desires. The only person, and the source material, hammers this home repeatedly. The only person you are truly in control of is you.
Right.
Your thoughts, your actions, and your feelings. This is like a foundational law of human nature, and it's a core principle of Stoicism too, right? We all have this hardwired need for control over our own lives, but that control ends precisely where another person's agency begins. Trying to cross that boundary isn't just futile, it's utterly exhausting.
Yeah, you just waste so much energy.
Exactly. And this leads us directly to the full equation, which is so important. Let them plus let me. Let them is the first half. It's about creating space by releasing that futile grip on others. It's that powerful act of just disengaging from the uncontrollable. But that's only half the story.
Right.
The let me is the second equally crucial step. That's where you reclaim all that energy you've just freed up. and you redirect it. You focus it on your own responsibility and your own intentional actions.
Okay, so let them, then let me.
Precisely. Think of it like a seesaw, as the source material suggests. When you internalize other people's negativity, their opinions, their judgments, their disappointments, you're basically giving them power, and your side of the seesaw just sinks under that weight. Saying let them is like pushing off the ground with your foot. You shift that power dynamic right back to you. You rise, you feel lighter, and you free yourself from the immense weight of that external negativity. You put yourself back in the driver's seat of your own life.
I love that seesaw visual. It makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's helpful, right? So what's the profound why behind this theory? Why is it so impactful? Well, first, and this is critical, it's about alleviating anxiety and stress.
Okay.
That constant, often unconscious effort we make to control external factors and people in our lives leads to significant chronic stress and anxiety. The more you try to control something you fundamentally can't, the more anxious and stressed you become. It just amplifies your fears and keeps you in this perpetual state of hypervigilance.
Exhausting.
Totally. Second, it allows you to reclaim immense amounts of energy and focus. By consciously choosing to let them have their opinions or reactions, you free up all this mental and emotional energy that was previously just wasted on these futile attempts at control.
Right.
And this newfound energy can then be directed towards what truly matters to you: your goals, your dreams, your well-being, your own life. And third, it fosters authenticity. The theory encourages you to live your life authentically, aligned with your own values, rather than constantly conforming to others' expectations or, shrinking yourself down to try and manage their potential negative reactions.
Like taking off an invisible costume.
Exactly. It allows you to shed that costume you wear, trying to please everyone all the time. So zooming out, the really profound liberation here comes from understanding that the problem isn't actually them. It's the power you unknowingly give away to other people, a power you can and absolutely should take back. So the question for you, listener, is, what does it mean for you to reclaim that remote control today?
Okay, so we get the core philosophy, its powerful origins, but, the big question is, what does this all mean for you, our listener, in your day-to-day life? How do we take this philosophy and actually put it into practice?
Right, the practical application, that's key.
Yeah. So the first step seems to be really encouraging yourself to identify those areas where you're currently engaged in, over-control.
Self-awareness first.
Right. Are you endlessly explaining yourself in conversations? Trying to make absolutely sure everyone understands your perspective perfectly?
Been there.
Or are you constantly seeking validation? Needing others to affirm your choices or your worth before you feel confident enough to move forward? Or maybe you're trying to manage other people's happiness, feeling responsible for their moods, their reactions, even their life choices.
That's a big one for a lot of people, that sense of responsibility for others' feelings.
Totally. And the source material gives some incredibly relatable examples, like think about managing stress in a high-pressure situation, like just traveling.
Oh, airports. Prime territory.
Exactly. Mel paints this vivid picture of an airport stress test. You're stuck in a ridiculously long line, feeling agitated. Maybe someone nearby is coughing openly right into the air. Ugh.
Yep. Seen it. Felt it.
Your instinct might be to get really annoyed, right? To huff and puff, maybe glare, seethe internally about how inconsiderate they are.
Your blood pressure rises.
Or consider workplace frustration. You've been doing an amazing job, hitting all your numbers, going above and beyond, but you're still not getting that promotion you absolutely deserve.
So frustrating.
Instead, you get what she calls lip service. The company's profits are down, our hands are tied, but you add so much value, really.
Oh, heard that one too.
That feeling of being powerless, stuck, and just utterly frustrated, that's precisely where the let them theory can step in and empower you.
Indeed. That's such a vital point, because understanding our own triggers, like you said, is the first step. And that clarity ties directly into the science of stress itself.
Okay.
Dr. Aditi Narukar, who's a physician at Harvard Medical School and an expert in stress management, explains how stress is a much bigger problem than we often realize because it actively hijacks the functioning of your brain.
Hijacks it.
Well, normally, your prefrontal cortex. That's the part responsible for logical thought, planning, calm decision-making. It's in charge. But the moment you feel stressed, your brain shifts into survival mode. It activates the amygdala, your fear center, and that vital prefrontal cortex is basically offline.
Wow. So you're not thinking clearly.
Not at all. Your goals, your dreams, your best self, they all just go right out the window in that moment. So this raises an important question, right? If stress literally makes us lose control neurologically, how do we hack that response? How do we actually regain that calm, intentional control?
Yeah, how do we do that?
Well, Dr. Dady highlights how something as simple as taking a deep breath isn't just, a folksy remedy. It scientifically activates your vagus nerve.
Okay.
Think of it like hitting the reset button on your entire nervous system. It shifts you from that fight or flight sympathetic response to a more calm, rest and digest parasympathetic state.
So it's a physical change.
It's a physiological change. This isn't just about feeling better. It's physically influencing your internal state and your capacity for intentional response. So the let them solution for stress is like a sigh of relief for your stressed out brain. You cannot control whether another person is coughing on a plane or if the airport line is moving at a glacial pace, but you can control your response by saying, let me take a deep breath. Let me choose to disengage from this external chaos. You are now back in control of your inner state.
Oh, okay.
And you can choose to intentionally respond rather than just automatically react. This is how you prevent those little things from becoming big stressors that just drain your energy and ruin your whole mood.
That reframing of stress as a choice, as a controllable internal response, that's so powerful. It really makes you realize how much energy we waste on things truly outside our influence. So how does this translate to that universal workplace frustration, feeling overlooked or undervalued?
It's a perfect application. When you're stuck waiting for a promotion you clearly feel you deserve, the source says, essentially. Let them string you along.
Oof. That's tough to hear.
It is tough to hear, and you've absolutely earned the right to be angry and frustrated. But ultimately, who is responsible for your career?
Me, I am.
You are he. You can't control if your boss will suddenly see the light, or if the company's budget will magically appear for your raise. So the solution is the let me part. Let me go get it.
Okay. Take action.
Exactly. You are never truly stuck. You always have the power to update your resume, start networking, look for new opportunities, interview for positions that actually match your value, rather than letting a bad boss or a stagnant company control your future. Instead of just complaining and draining your own precious energy, you can pour that time and emotion into actively finding the job you deserve, even if it takes 6 months or a year. Those months are going to pass whether you act or not.
Right.
Let me ensures you're actually building towards a better future within that time. Now, a common question that comes up is, well, what about situations where let them might feel like apathy or just letting bad behavior slide?
Yeah, like do you just let people walk all over you?
Right. The source gives a great, slightly humorous example. The dog poop incident.
Okay.
Mel sees an owner not picking up after their dog in a park where, ironically, dog owners are being warned about potential trail closures because of this very issue.
Oh, the irony.
Exactly. Initially, she tries to let them, reasoning is not her problem, don't get involved. But then the owner just kicks some leaves over the mess.
Oh, come on.
Right. So Mel goes from feeling stressed to feeling like the dog police, feeling that internal pull to intervene. This just illustrates that your response to every situation is unique and personal. There will be days you genuinely don't have the emotional or physical energy to intervene, and you'll just shrug your shoulders and say, let them. Fine. But there will also be times when your values are truly activated, and you say, let me be the bigger person, and maybe you just pick it up yourself. Or, if it truly matters to you and aligns with your boundaries, you will choose to act or speak up. The key is that you always get to choose how you respond.
Right. It's your choice.
It's your choice how you show up, whether you engage or disengage, based on your priorities, not on some external compulsion or what you think you should do.
That's a great clarification because, yeah, it's not about being passive. It's about conscious choice. And that choice becomes incredibly relevant when we talk about things that feel much bigger than us, like, say, the current political climate, which is a huge stressor for so many people right now.
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of polarization and just sheer powerlessness can be completely overwhelming. But again, you have a choice. You can let the constant news cycle and the perceived lack of control just stress you out endlessly. You can throw your hands up and feel utterly powerless and drained.
Which is easy to do.
Very easy. Or, if it bothers you enough, if your values are truly engaged, you tap into the power of let me. As Professor Margaret Mead famously said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has.
I love that quote.
Right. If it matters to you, you become the one everyone else is waiting for. You don't wait for others to create the change you want to see. You embody it. You take action, however small.
Okay.
That's the power of let me. It encourages active, value-aligned action rather than just passive despair or endless, draining rumination. It asks you, what small action can I take today that aligns with what truly matters to me?
Okay, now let's shift and talk about what the source material identifies as potentially the biggest weight block in life.
Ooh, okay. What is it?
The fear of what other people think.
Ah, yes. The big one.
Right. This hits home for so many of us, myself definitely included. Mel shares her own personal struggle with this when she was just starting out as a motivational speaker. For 2 whole years, she was literally too scared to tell her friends and her extended family what she was actually doing.
2 years.
Yeah. She built a website, she got testimonials, but she just could not bring herself to post about her business on social media. Her personal feed was all family photos, you know? And she was paralyzed by the fear of judgment. She worried constantly, who does she think she is? Who the heck is hiring her to speak? What does she possibly have to say? What a phony.
That internal critic is so loud sometimes.
So loud. She recounts drafting hundreds of posts, just agonizing over whether the caption sounded too arrogant, if people would unfollow her, if her friends would think she was full of herself. Just burning so much mental and emotional energy trying to craft the perfect image.
The impossible task.
Right. Something that would promote her business while simultaneously ensuring that absolutely no one would think a single negative thought about her. It was utterly exhausting.
I can only imagine.
And when she did manage to post something, she'd obsessively check for likes. And if the comments weren't overwhelmingly positive, she'd delete it after just 5 minutes, convinced she'd made a terrible mistake.
Oh, wow. That much anxiety over it.
Yeah. This fear literally kept her from marketing her business effectively, something she desperately wanted to make her full-time career for years. It's just such a classic example of giving other people's opinions more weight and importance than your own ability to get ahead, to build your dream, or even just to show up authentically as yourself. And you, our listener, you can probably connect with this, right?
Yeah.
How often has that fear of external opinions led to procrastination or perfectionism or just crippling self-doubt, stopping you from pursuing what you truly want, or just simply being yourself?
It's incredibly common. And this is precisely where the let them theory offers a truly, well, revolutionary approach.
Okay, what is it?
Give people the freedom to think negative thoughts about you.
Just let them.
Let them. The truth is, as the source emphasizes repeatedly, people will always have opinions about you. Always.
Yeah.
About your outfit, your choices, what you said, what you did, your parenting style, your career path, everything. You simply cannot control what goes on in their heads.
Right. It's impossible.
So this raises a really important question. Why on earth would you ever entrust something as precious as your confidence, your peace of mind, your happiness, and your dreams to the fleeting whims and unpredictable moods of the people around you?
When you put it like that.
It's like handing over the keys to your internal world to, well, sometimes complete strangers or even people who don't have your best interests at heart. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And the paradox of pleasing everyone is highlighted so beautifully with Mel's story of trying to attend both a friend's milestone birthday and a family gathering on the exact same weekend.
Oh, the scheduling nightmare.
Total nightmare. She drove hours, stayed up late celebrating with friends, then left super early the next morning, drove more hours to get to her parents' house, feeling utterly exhausted, but kind of proud of her effort, you know?
Yeah, like, I did it.
Right. Only to find out later that the birthday girl was apparently upset that you left and apparently said, I don't know why she even bothered coming if she could only stay one night.
Ouch.
And then her mom whispered to her, your grandmother was so disappointed you weren't here when she arrived last night.
Oh my God.
Can't win.
You literally cannot win. This perfectly illustrates that even when you bend over backward and try to please everyone and make it work, even that won't guarantee that other people will think a positive thought about you. Let them. It's a losing game. It's a constant uphill battle where the finish line just keeps moving further away.
So true.
So the let me solution then is to consciously shift your focus. Bend over backward to make yourself happy.
Don't go to the birthday party to make your friend think you're a good friend. Go because you value that connection. And showing up makes you feel like a good friend, aligned with your values.
Internal motivation.
Exactly. Don't visit your grandparents solely for your mother's happiness or approval. Do it because prioritizing your family makes you happy, because it aligns with your deeply held values. When you start operating from that place of self-pride, rooted in your authentic values and your own conscious decisions, what other people think becomes largely irrelevant. You are no longer driven by that constant need for external validation or shackled by guilt. You're free.
Expert. That sounds incredibly liberating, but also, I imagine, for many people, deeply challenging, especially when we talk about family dynamic.
Oh, for sure. Family is often the toughest arena for this.
Right. Because family often feels, well, entitled to their opinions. They push under the guise of caring, questioning your single status, disapproving of your career choices, constantly reminding you to take better care of yourself.
I'm only saying this because I love you.
Exactly. And it's often because they genuinely do have a stake in your happiness, and families form this kind of interconnected system, right?
A great way to put it, a system.
Yeah. So any significant change you make, like getting a divorce or pursuing a really unique career path, it sends shockwaves through that whole system because it disrupts the established expectations and beliefs. How does let them apply when the people judging you or expressing concern are the ones you love the most?
That's where the nuance truly comes in, and it's so important. To navigate this complexity, the source introduces Lisa Bilyeu's really powerful frame of reference concept.
Frame of reference, okay.
Yeah, Mel uses her own mother's initial disapproval of her marriage to Chris as a perfect example. Her mother wasn't necessarily wrong in her concern from her perspective, but she was looking at it entirely from her own frame of reference.
How?
Well, her mother had left home at 17, got pregnant shortly after, and never moved back to her family farm. That was her life experience. So when Mel met Chris, who was also from the East Coast, her mother's deepest fear, the fear of losing her daughter to a distant life, just like she felt she had lost hers, was immediately triggered.
Okay. It wasn't about Chris, it was about her own past.
Exactly. Understanding someone else's frame of reference doesn't necessarily change their opinion, or yours for that matter. But it can deepen connection and create space for two truths to exist simultaneously. It allows you to see their reaction not necessarily as judgment, but perhaps as grief or fear rooted in their own past experiences.
That's really insightful.
It allows you to internally say, okay, I understand why they might feel that way based on their life and their experiences, but it doesn't have to define my path or invalidate my choices. This framework is especially impactful, the source notes, in blended families or step relationships, which introduce a major shock to any family system.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
As a step parent, the source advises, it's often your responsibility to let them grieve, let them see you, and maybe your kids, as a threat initially. Let them feel their emotions. They don't have to like you right away or ever. Let them.
Wow, that's hard.
It's incredibly hard. But it's about displaying grace and compassion, trying to understand their perspective, even when it feels deeply unfair. You acknowledge their feelings without internalizing them as a reflection of your worth or trying to fix how they feel about the situation.
Right. You can't force connection.
You can't.
Yeah.
Ultimately, when you truly let them have their opinions, even the difficult, painful ones, you gain the freedom to live aligned with your own values. And when you consciously practice let me, you focus on the only opinion that truly fundamentally matters in the long run, yours. It's about refusing to let external opinions, even from those closest to you, limit your potential or hold you back from your dreams. It's about recognizing that their feelings are their feelings, and you are not, nor can you be, responsible for managing them. #5. Dealing with emotional outbursts and chronic comparison.
Okay, so from navigating external validation, let's turn our attention to another often challenging area of human interaction. Those moments when the adults around us, perhaps even ourselves sometimes, behave, well, a little less than adult.
Chuckles.
Oh, yeah.
We've all seen it. Or done it.
Right. The reality is adults can be just as emotional as children sometimes, and the liberating part of this theory is realizing it is not your responsibility to manage someone else's reactions.
That is a game changer right there.
Totally. Mel's therapist, Ann Davin, offered this profound reframing. Most adults are just 8-year-old children inside of big bodies.
Wow. Okay.
Just thinking about that simple concept can shift your entire perspective when you encounter behaviors like, pouting, the silent treatment, rage texts, dramatic outbursts, or even just passive aggression. Suddenly, you're not necessarily dealing with an intimidating, rational adult in that moment. You might be dealing with someone whose emotional maturity is, well, still developing in that area and whose behavior is probably not even about you at all.
And this reframing is actually truly rooted in understanding our brain chemistry and emotional development. Those childlike behaviors we see in adults often stem from an underdeveloped capacity to process intense emotions healthfully, or maybe an inability to communicate their needs directly and calmly.
Right. So it's a skill deficit almost.
In a way, yes. The source explains that emotions themselves are like these fleeting chemical bursts, adrenaline, cortisol, dopamine, they ignite and are absorbed into your body within a remarkably short time, maybe just 6 seconds.
6 seconds, that's it.
That's the initial chemical burst. And most strong emotions, if you don't actively feed them with reaction or rumination, will naturally rise and fall within about 90 seconds.
90 seconds, that's fascinating.
But here's the catch. Emotions are also incredibly contagious. They can spread like wildfire through a room or a relationship, and factors like being hungry, tired, or under chronic stress can amplify them exponentially in anyone.
Hanger is real.
Hanger is definitely real. So the core truth remains. You cannot control other people's emotional storms, but you absolutely control the harbor you build for your own response. You control whether you get pulled into their storm or if you simply observe it, understanding its temporary nature, maybe even seeing that 8-year-old reacting inside.
That visual helps.
This concept is really crucial when facing difficult truths, especially when, as the source puts it, the right decision often feels wrong.
Okay, like what?
Imagine a groom wanting to call off his wedding just weeks before the ceremony. Intellectually, the answer is clear, right? If he's dreading it this much, it's probably a mistake that will lead to much greater pain down the road.
Right, better now than later.
But emotionally, it feels devastating. The fear of disappointing family, the huge financial loss, breaking his fiance's heart. It feels wrong to cause that much immediate pain.
Oh, yeah. Agonizing.
But if we zoom out and apply this theory, it's often about choosing to inflict temporary pain on yourself, the guilt, the discomfort, by avoiding a difficult truth, rather than letting others feel their healthy, though painful, emotions.
Healthy emotions, even sadness and disappointment.
Yes.
Yeah.
As Dr. Lisa D'Amour, a clinical psychologist, notes, negative emotions like sadness or disappointment are actually mentally healthy and appropriate responses to life's inevitable upsets and losses. Trying to shield people from them isn't helpful in the long run. You have to learn to ride the emotional wave, both your own and theirs. Emotions rise and fall. You won't drown in them. Let them have their opinions. Let them have their reactions. Let me have mine. It's about giving yourself and others the space to process emotions without trying to control or suppress them. This courage to make the right decision for yourself, even when it causes discomfort in others, is a core application of the theory. It leads to greater peace of mind and much more effective decision-making in the long run.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So from managing external emotions, let's transition to another universal struggle that, frankly, can also unleash that inner 8-year-old in all of us. Chronic comparison.
Oh boy, comparison, the thief of joy.
Right. We all do it, especially now with curated social media feeds everywhere. And the source material highlights 2 really distinct types of comparison, one that can absolutely torture you, and one that can actually be a powerful teacher.
Okay, let's break that down.
So the first type is torture. This is when you obsess over, get caught up in, or just beat yourself up about fixed attributes of someone else's life that you can literally never change.
Things outside your control.
Exactly. Think about natural beauty, height, metabolism, family background, innate talents like perfect pitch, or incredible athletic ability. Mel gives this really poignant example of her oldest daughter, Sawyer, who apparently tortures herself by constantly comparing her body type and her talents to her sister Kendall's. Kendall has a completely different physique and a natural singing voice. Sawyer cannot change these fixed attributes no matter how hard she tries. No amount of effort will ever even the score in her mind in those specific areas.
That's heartbreaking.
And so pointless.
Well, totally pointless. This kind of comparison just leads to self-hate, body image issues, and it actively prevents you from embracing your own unique potential and gifts. It drains your energy and fuels that constant self-doubt.
The core message here is crystal clear. If you can't change it, you must learn to allow it. Let them. Let them have their beauty, their height, their metabolism, their innate talent. Stop wasting your precious time and energy obsessing over someone else's unchangeable cards. It's an act of self-torture that is utterly useless for your growth and profoundly detrimental to your happiness and self-esteem. It just keeps you small and stuck, endlessly chasing something that isn't yours to claim.
Exactly. It's a dead end. But the second type of comparison, that's where the gold is. Comparison as a teacher.
Okay, how does that work?
This occurs when you focus on aspects of someone else's life or success that you could actually create for yourself, given time and consistent effort. And this list is endless, right? A better job, a strong group of friends, financial freedom, healthier habits, writing that book you've always dreamed of, starting a business, becoming a more confident speaker, things that are achievable through action.
Right, things within your sphere of influence.
Precisely. If someone has done something better, bigger or cooler than you in one of these areas. The advice is, let them. Their success gives you the formula.
Ah, not a threat, but a formula.
Exactly. It's not about them beating you or making you feel less than. It's about recognizing their success as a blueprint. Maybe even, as the source suggests, an invitation from your future self. It shows you what's possible for you if you're willing to put in the work.
Okay, I like that reframe. Jealousy is an invitation from your future self.
Isn't that powerful?
Yeah.
It reframes that uncomfortable feeling of jealousy, not as a character flaw, but as a signal, a signpost pointing towards something you desire. It shows you what's possible, and it often highlights the work you've perhaps been avoiding. Take the example of Molly, a seasoned interior designer who felt insanely jealous of a new, seemingly less experienced designer in her neighborhood who was just killing it with online marketing, getting all the buzz. Molly's anger, when she really examined it, wasn't truly at the new designer. It was frustration directed at herself. She knew deep down she could have updated her own website, boosted her social media presence, and invested in marketing years ago, but she just hadn't done it.
The mirror effect.
Exactly. The new designer was holding up a mirror, reflecting Molly's own inaction and procrastination. This kind of anger, as the source explains, is often you being mad at yourself because you know that you could have gotten to work sooner. It's really an internal call to action.
So what's the let me then?
The let me action becomes crystal clear. Let me get to work. Let me put in the reps. As Tom Brady is quoted, you don't have to be special. You just have to be what most people aren't. Consistent, determined, and willing to work for it.
Consistency, that's the key.
It really is.
Yeah.
Mel herself felt intensely jealous years ago about a friend's amazing dream house renovation back when she was struggling financially. Initially, she felt insanely jealous and almost combusted when she saw the kids play loft with, like, queen-size bunk beds.
I can picture that.
Right. But over the next 15 years, through consistent, disciplined effort in her own career, she eventually achieved her own dream house.
Right.
That friend's success ultimately became a teaching moment, a blueprint, a visual affirmation of what was possible for her through sustained effort over time.
Wow, 15 years, that's commitment.
It is. So the message is, stop torturing yourself with comparison over fixed attributes you can't change. Instead, use comparison as a powerful teacher to identify what you truly want, and then let me put in the consistent focused work to achieve it. Your energy is so precious, direct it towards creating your own extraordinary life, not lamenting someone else's.
Okay, let's shift gears now to a really vital part of our lives that often undergoes a dramatic and sometimes really confusing transformation as we get older. Adult friendships.
The landscape definitely changes.
Right. The source says, friendships change dramatically when you become an adult, and no one sees the change coming. We often approach them the same way we did as kids or in college, just expecting them to happen organically. But as adults, you really need to take control and apply the let them theory here too.
It requires more intention.
Exactly. The source highlights 3 crucial pillars of adult friendship: proximity, timing, and energy.
Okay. Proximity, timing, energy.
So proximity. This explains why it's often so much harder to make friends as an adult. Think about when you were younger. You were constantly surrounded by peers in school, sports, neighborhoods. You were clocking hundreds of hours together without even trying.
Right, forced proximity.
Yeah. The University of Kansas study mentioned in the source material found you need about 74 hours together for someone to become a casual friend, and over 200 hours for them to become a close friend.
Wow, 200 hours. That's a lot.
It is. In high school, you could hit that 200 hours in just 5 or 6 weeks of shared classes and activities. But as an adult, those built-in social structures mostly disappear. You might spend more time with coworkers than anyone else, but those interactions rarely lead to deep connections through sheer proximity alone.
True. Work friends are different.
Then the second pillar is timing. This refers to being in the same chapter of life, so to speak.
Okay.
This is why even if you spend a lot of time with coworkers, you might not become close friends. They could be in entirely different life stages. Maybe parents with young kids versus empty nesters, or single individuals versus those deeply entrenched in family life.
Right. Different priorities, different schedules.
Exactly. Mel even shares an example of family friends she loves and respects, but because they're 15 years older and now grandparents, the timing is off, and the friendship, while lovely, can only go so deep anymore. It helps you realize that sometimes when friendships fade or feel distant, none of this is personal. It's just proximity and timing. It's not a judgment on your worth or theirs, just a natural evolution.
That takes the sting out of it a bit, doesn't it?
It really does. And finally, there's energy. This is that, that inexplicable click or maybe off feeling you get with some people.
The vibe.
Yeah, the vibe. You can't quite explain it, but you usually trust it. It's that intuitive sense of whether your energies align, whether you leave a conversation feeling energized and uplifted or kind of drained and depleted.
Pay attention to that.
And a hard truth is that energy shifts over time as people grow and change, sometimes in different directions. Sometimes friendships naturally fade. And it's not because anyone did anything wrong or that you're a bad friend or they are.
Right, people just evolve.
Yeah. Mel recounts her own really painful story of feeling excluded by her closest friends after she moved. She eventually realized, looking back, that the pillars had shifted, and honestly, her own negative energy at the time, fueled by her personal and financial struggles, had probably made her a kind of walking friendship red flag, unknowingly pushing people away.
Wow, that takes self-awareness.
Totally. This highlights why, as people come and go in our lives, let them becomes incredibly freeing. It's about accepting the natural ebb and flow of connection without personalizing it or trying to force something that's no longer aligned.
That acceptance is key.
Yeah.
But it raises an important question, doesn't it? When you've let them go or you've let friendships naturally evolve, and you maybe look around and realize, wow, I don't have many immediate friends right now. What then?
Yeah, that can be a really lonely and daunting realization.
Absolutely. Mel shares her own experience of extreme loneliness after moving to a new rural town where she knew absolutely no one. For an entire year, she admits, she did nothing.
A whole year.
A whole year. She just sat at home, cried, convinced she'd made a huge mistake, basically just waiting for someone to magically reach out to her. It got so bad that her adult daughters, out of sheer concern for her, forced her to walk up a neighbor's driveway and knock on their door, even though she felt like a total loser and was utterly terrified.
Oh my gosh, that sounds awful, but also necessary.
Exactly. That awkward, terrifying moment was actually the beginning of her turning things around. And it leads directly to this idea of the habit of going first.
Okay, going first.
It's about taking radical personal responsibility for creating the connections you actually desire, rather than passively waiting for them to magically appear at your doorstep. It means, let me be the first to introduce myself. Let me be the first to say, hi, I'm new here. She gives specific, actionable examples. Complimenting people genuinely, looking for group classes or events that actually interest you, and then having the courage, after a few encounters, to invite someone for coffee or a walk.
Okay, taking the initiative.
Yes. She talks about starting a walking group that has now been going strong for 3 years, with so many people in the text chain they can't even add anymore.
Wow, see,
Yeah.
it works.
It works, but it takes effort. Will some people be a little awkward or unresponsive when you reach out? Yes. Let them. Will most people actually be warm and receptive to genuine connection? Yes. Let them. It's about putting in that consistent effort, giving it time, maybe a year. She suggests knowing that the community you desire is often waiting for you to go first, to initiate, to be vulnerable. It's a really powerful application of let me in the social sphere.
That's a powerful shift from waiting to actively creating. And it makes me think about how we often try to influence others, especially those close to us, right? To make changes we think are good for them. But as you said earlier, direct pressure often just backfires spectacularly. How do we apply let them to maybe inspiring change in others without creating all that resistance?
That's a crucial distinction and a really important part of the theory. While yes, you can't make someone else change, the source emphatically states, but I never said you couldn't influence them.
Influence, not control.
Precisely. The reason direct pressure, like nagging or criticizing, often backfires is simple. It directly threatens that hardwired human need we all have for control and agency over our own lives. When you push, they instinctively push back. It just creates resistance and a standoff. Think of a friend who constantly nags her husband to get healthier. Her constant prodding, even if it's totally well-intentioned, likely only created resentment and gridlock. Change is inherently hard, right? And internal motivation isn't automatic. It needs to be cultivated from within, not imposed from outside.
So if pressure doesn't work, what does work? Because, as much as we want to let them, sometimes we genuinely care about someone's well-being and we really want to see them thrive or make a healthier choice.
That's exactly right. And there's a way. The source introduces a research-backed tool specifically designed to inspire change. It's called the ABC loop. It's designed to unlock someone's intrinsic motivation without using force or pressure.
ABC loop. Okay, break it down.
So the first step, A, is to apologize. Then ask open-ended questions.
Apologize first.
Yes. But before you even talk to them, you need to understand your own frustration. Because often, our desire for someone else to change is really about our need for control or our own fears. Mel suggests using the 5 whys method on yourself first.
Okay.
For example, if you're upset about your husband's health, ask yourself, why does this bother me? Maybe the answer is because he's modeling unhealthy habits for the kids. Okay, why does that bother me? Because I'm terrified I'll lose him early. You realize it's often about your own deep-seated fears and needs, not just their behavior.
Getting to the root of your stuff.
Exactly. Once you've reflected on your own role and your need for control, it's much easier to drop the pressure. Then, you genuinely apologize for any pressure you've applied in the past, acknowledging your part in the dynamic. And then, you engage in what's called motivational interviewing. You ask open-ended questions designed to make them reflect, not feel judged or attacked.
Like what kind of questions?
Questions like, how do you feel about your health right now? Or what feels hard about making changes for you? Or maybe what might be one small step you'd even be willing to consider? The goal is for them to feel the internal disconnect between what they might want deep down and their current behavior. It's not for you to fix it. As the source says, let them talk. And let me listen. Truly listen without interrupting or immediately jumping in with solutions.
Okay. Apologize, ask. Then what?
Then comes B, back off and observe their behavior. After that initial open conversation, you absolutely have to give them space and time. Don't expect immediate action or transformation. They need to marinate on it, to process it on their own terms in their own time.
So no nagging follow-up texts?
Definitely not. And during this back-off phase, it's crucial to model the change yourself, but make it look easy and fun, not like a chore. So if you want your partner to exercise, go for your runs happily and consistently. Maybe mention how good you feel afterwards, but don't pressure them to join. Show them the joy you get from it. And if they still don't change, the message is clear. If not, let them be. You can only control your actions and your observations. Their change has to come from within, driven by their own intrinsic motivation.
Okay. Apologize, ask, back off, observe. What's C?
Finally, there's C. Celebrate progress while you continue to model the change. This is where the science of immediate positive rewards comes into play, as discussed by Dr. Taylor Sherritt. Humans are, at our core, wired to see pleasure and avoid pain. Every time we experience an immediate positive response to an action, whether it's a genuine compliment, a warm hug, or even just seeing a small win, our brain gets a hit of dopamine. This creates a powerful positive feedback loop.
Yeah, the reward system.
Exactly. This isn't about manipulation. It's about leveraging our natural psychological architecture to encourage desired behaviors, both in ourselves and in others. So for the friend wanting her husband to get healthier, genuinely complimenting him or giving him a hug right after he makes a small effort, like going for a walk, makes his brain connect that effort with positive attention and desire.
Makes sense. Reinforce the positive.
Precisely. So the mantra becomes, let them be. And let me use the science to inspire change through positive reinforcement and modeling, not to nagging or pressure. This whole ABC approach shifts the dynamic from a frustrating battle for control to a more supportive, influence-driven partnership.
That's a really clear and helpful framework for influence, moving from external pressure to nurturing internal motivation. But what about those really high-stakes situations where just let them seems almost irresponsible? When do you not just let them do whatever they want?
That's a critical nuance, and the source addresses it directly and clearly. If someone is doing something genuinely dangerous or acutely self-destructive like driving drunk, an active addiction that's clearly threatening their life, or a severe mental illness leading to imminent self-harm, you absolutely don't just let them.
Okay. Intervention is necessary then.
Yes. You step in, you take the keys, you call for professional help, you do whatever is reasonably necessary to save a life or prevent immediate serious harm.
Right.
This is a clear distinction. This theory is not about apathy or enabling in the face of true immediate danger.
Right.
For adults, however, who are not in that kind of immediate life-threatening danger, the hard truth is you cannot want their healing or their change more than they do. Often, shame and denial prevent them from asking for help, and that's ultimately their journey to navigate, not yours to force. And the source emphasizes that enabling them, which means rescuing them with money, words, or actions that consistently prevent them from facing the natural consequences of their choices, actually hinders their healing. It paradoxically prolongs their struggle.
So rescuing actually hurts them?
In the long run, yes, often it does. The advice is, let them drop the ball. Let me stop throwing it back to them. Let me resist the urge to pick it up and run down the field for them.
Ooh, that's tough love.
It really is. Mel shares the powerful, very painful story of her husband Chris's brother refusing him a loan for his failing business. It was agonizing for Chris in the short term, but that refusal ultimately led Chris to hit rock bottom and finally address both his failing business and his underlying alcohol problem. Sometimes hitting bottom is necessary.
Wow.
True support, the source suggests, isn't about constantly solving their problems for them or even always asking, how can I help? Sometimes it's about simply doing things without being asked. Maybe cleaning their kitchen if they're overwhelmed, sitting quietly with a new mom, taking the kids to the park to give them a break, sending supportive texts without expecting a reply. It's about presence and practical help, not necessarily fixing.
Okay. And what about financial boundaries? That's a tough one.
Very tough. If you're financially supporting an adult and they repeatedly violate the terms or show no effort towards independence, the advice is stark. Let them struggle. Let them violate the terms of your support. And then let me cut them off financially.
Wow. That's direct.
It is. It's tough love, absolutely. But it clarifies responsibility and can be the necessary wake-up call they need to finally take accountability for their own lives. As the source puts it, if they need your money, then your opinion and boundaries buy access to your life. If they truly want independence, they have to prove it through their actions, not just words. #7. Love, loss, and your let me era.
Okay, to kind of round out our journey through the let them theory, let's talk about love, loss, and ultimately what the source calls your let me era. Love is an area where we so often give away our power without even realizing it, right? Driven by this intense desire for connection and approval.
Oh, absolutely. It's prime territory for losing yourself.
Yeah. The source says too often you chase love, or maybe the potential for what you think it could be, and you end up compromising on your values, your peace of mind, and even your self-worth. We all know dating is hard. It can feel like a game or competition, just an endless loop of uncertainty and mixed signals. But the hard truth, as the source states it, is actually simple and profoundly clarifying. People's behavior tells you exactly how they feel about you. Full stop.
That cuts through so much noise, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Behavior is the truth.
Totally.
And this is where let them becomes incredibly clarifying, especially in early dating. Let them reveal who they truly are. Let them reveal whether or not they make an effort. Let them reveal whether or not they actually care.
Pay attention to the actions, not just the words.
Exactly. You have to stop making excuses for confusing or dismissive behavior. Let them not text you back for days. Let them make promises when they are drunk and then conveniently not remember them.
Yeah.
Let them show up late repeatedly without a good reason. Let their behavior be the clear, unambiguous message about their interest level and their respect for you. The easy part, ironically, is letting them show you who they are. People usually do pretty quickly. Let me is the hard part, the source admits, because you don't want to see the truth.
Yeah, you want the fantasy.
You want the fantasy, the potential you saw in them. But you must learn to accept their behavior as the actual truth about how they feel about you right now. This protects you from endlessly chasing someone who isn't genuinely interested or available. It saves you immense time and heartbreak, and it frees you up to move on to someone who does show up for you consistently and enthusiastically. As the source puts it, the faster you say no to what isn't right for you, the faster you will be saying yes to the love of your life.
Okay. That's powerful for dating. What about long-term partnerships?
The theory also offers really crucial insights there. Look, no relationship is perfect, we all know that. But the source, drawing heavily on Dr. John Gottman's extensive research on couples, states that two things are absolutely required for a relationship to go the distance. First, a mutual willingness from both partners to work on it, and second, having issues that don't fundamentally compromise core dreams or values.
Okay. Mutual effort and aligned values.
Right. And this next point from Gottman's research is critical. A staggering 69% of problems in relationships are actually unresolvable.
69%.
69%. These are issues like one partner desperately wants to move across the country for a dream job, and the other feels deeply rooted in their hometown near family. Or one wants children, and the other's firmly, unequivocally child-free. These aren't minor disagreements. They're fundamental deal breakers related to deeper life visions. They often cannot be compromised without creating deep, lasting resentment.
Someone ends up sacrificing a core part of themselves.
Exactly. So the source says, your partner is not changing on this core, unresolvable issue. Let them. Accept that this is who they are and what they want. And now, let me make a choice. You can't force them to change their core desires. If their resistance to changing something that is fundamentally important to you, maybe it's a chronic habit like vaping or perpetual sloppiness that drives you crazy, or a consistent lack of planning for the future creates deep, festering resentment in you, you must be honest with yourself about that.
Okay, so what's the let them approach in that situation?
It means you observe their continued behavior without trying to control it. You might state your feelings or needs clearly once, but then you let go of trying to force change. Let them sit with it. Say nothing more about it for a while. Let them experience their feelings about the situation. Let the silence do the work for you sometimes. Let them feel the natural consequences, if any, of their actions or inaction. Let them
detach from the outcome.
Yes, you observe their behavior without constantly trying to manage or control it. And then, if appropriate, let me use science. Ask them an open-ended question, like, how do you feel about this ongoing issue right now? To see if they feel the disconnect, if they are ready or willing to explore change from within. But if they remain unwilling to engage or change on an issue that is truly unresolvable and is chipping away at your soul, then let me means bravely choosing your own path forward, whatever that may look like for you.
That's a tough but really necessary truth for long-term relationships. And speaking of tough truths, let's talk about heartbreak. It's one of the most agonizing human experiences, and it often feels like just an emotional freefall.
It truly is. The source acknowledges heartbreak for exactly what it is, profound grief. And it says, the worst thing someone can say to you when a relationship has just ended is that you should focus on loving yourself. That is the world's worst advice.
Really?
Because when you're going through heartbreak, you often hate yourself. You question everything about yourself. You replay every moment. You miss your old life. Your identity feels completely shattered. You're definitely not in a love yourself space initially.
Yeah, that resonates.
The good news, though, and this is really crucial, is that these feelings, the intense sadness, the depressive state, the need to cry in bed for days, the anger, the confusion, these are actually mentally healthy and completely normal responses to a significant loss.
Okay, so it's okay to feel awful.
It's more than okay. It's necessary. The let me here is utterly crucial. Let me grieve. Let me cry in my bed for days if I need to. Let me resist the urge to reach out to them. Let me be in a depressive state for a little while. It's about allowing yourself to feel the full, raw pain without judgment, knowing it's a temporary, albeit incredibly intense wave. You won't drown. It will pass.
Allow the feelings.
But while you allow yourself to grieve, you must also be intentional about what you do with that time. Healing isn't just passive wallowing. It's active self-compassion and rebuilding.
Okay, so practical steps.
Yes. Practical steps include consciously removing environmental triggers as much as possible. Pack away those photos, put the trinkets in a box for later. Maybe consider giving your bedroom a small makeover, even just new sheets, or rearranging furniture to signal to your brain that a new chapter is starting and create a fresh space that's just for you.
Change the environment.
Actively reach out to your supportive friends and family. Not just to vent endlessly, but to share space, feel connected, and draw on their love and support. Consciously fill your calendar with engagements that nourish you, even if it's just a quiet coffee with a good friend or a solo walk in nature. Keep moving, gently.
Stay connected.
And critically, pick a challenge for yourself. Something purely for your pride, not a revenge diet or some workout routine designed to make your ex jealous. That's not healing.
Right. What kind of challenge?
It could be anything. Learning a new skill. Training for a 5K, hiking a challenging trail, starting a creative project, volunteering for a cause you care about. Something that builds your internal strength and pride. What is one personal challenge you, listener, can embrace right now, purely for yourself? And give it time. Remember, time itself doesn't heal all wounds. It's what you do with your time that facilitates healing. By applying let them to the situation, letting them go, letting them be, letting their actions be the truth, you gain the strength to fully embrace let me heal, let me rebuild, and ultimately let me come through this stronger and more authentically you than ever before.
And as we navigate all these complexities of love and loss, the ultimate liberation, maybe the core message of this whole thing, comes with this profound realization that, honestly, for so many of us, is a revelation. You are the love of your life.
That's the bedrock.
You spend your entire life with yourself. This isn't just some catchy phrase. It's the core of self-compassion and self-esteem that the let them theory really champions. It isn't just about managing external relationships. It's fundamentally a guide for how to treat yourself, how to nurture your own inner world, how to fiercely protect your own peace.
Yes. It starts within.
It's about taking back your power and prioritizing your own well-being, maybe for the first time. Let them be them, so you can finally let me be me. You don't need anyone else's permission to be happy, to pursue your passions, to express yourself more fully, or to live the life you've always dreamed of. The only permission you ever truly need is your own. You've spent enough time waiting for others to give you what you crave, whether it's love or acceptance or approval. But the truth is, everything you're looking for really starts with you. Hashtag, outro.
Imagine for a moment standing beneath a vast sky that's constantly shifting. Sometimes it's clear and brilliantly blue, other times it's filled with soft, puffy clouds, or maybe it's rumbling with magnificent, albeit powerful thunderstorms. Now, imagine you spent so much of your time and energy trying to control that sky, wishing away the clouds, desperately hoping for endless sunshine, cursing the rain when it disrupts your plans. But the sky doesn't care what you want. It will do what it does. Its beauty, in many ways, lies in its unpredictability. It teaches us resilience. It invites wonder. You can't change the weather, right? But you can absolutely change how that weather impacts you.
Okay.
If you don't consciously use let them, you're essentially allowing yourself to be perpetually impacted by the worries, the actions, the insecurities, and the opinions of others.
Yeah.
You're letting their internal weather dictate your internal climate.
Giving them the thermostat.
Exactly.
Right.
And if you don't actively use let me, you are leaving the things you want most in life, your deepest desires, your most cherished dreams, entirely up to chance, waiting for the weather to be perfect before you step outside.
And that, our listener, is the true, often hidden cost of not embracing this theory. Just think for a moment about all the potential missed opportunities. The people you wished you had introduced yourself to but didn't. The career path you really wanted to pursue but felt was too risky or wouldn't get approval. The book you never wrote. The photo you never posted out of fear of judgment. The trip you didn't book because you were waiting for someone else to go with you. The vulnerable, important thing you were afraid to say to a loved one. The person you were maybe afraid to love back fully.
The what ifs.
Those are the devastating costs of not using Let Me. Can you really afford that price for your one amazing, precious life?
It's a powerful question to sit with.
But this realization, it's not meant to be a condemnation. It's intended as a profound liberation. It's the ultimate permission slip. You are responsible for your own happiness. You are responsible for the energy you bring into a room and how you show up in the world. You are responsible for waking up every single day and doing the work, however small, to make progress on what truly matters to you. You are responsible for defining what actually does matter to you.
Taking ownership.
You are responsible for telling your truth, even when it's really, really hard. You are responsible for paying for your life, for putting in the effort to create the life you genuinely want. Nobody owes you anything, but you owe yourself everything. It's truly incredible when you think about it to know that others can't truly affect your inner peace unless you let them.
Right. That boundary.
It's so liberating to know that they can say and do whatever they want. They can make fun of you. They can doubt your abilities. They can be the most successful person on this entire planet. And you, standing firmly in your own power, can choose to remain unbothered. How amazing is it that you get to be in control of what you think, what you say, and what you do?
It's the ultimate freedom.
So now that we've explored the depths of this theory together, I am so incredibly excited to personally welcome you right now to your Let Me era.
Yes. Love that.
This is the moment. This is your invitation to seize that power, reclaim your energy, and intentionally step into your most authentic, fulfilling life. Repeat after me, maybe just internally. Let me get started. Let me take a risk. Let me write the book. Let me be honest about what I truly want. Let me get in the best shape of my life. Let me apply for that dream job. Let me stop giving my precious love and energy to people who clearly don't want me back. Let me create a better life, a life that makes me proud, a life that makes me happy, a life where I use my precious energy to enjoy every single moment I possibly can.
Powerful intention.
Whatever that big dream is that you see for yourself, however crazy or unlikely or maybe even silly it seems right now, I see it for you. If you don't believe in you right now, let me believe in you. If you don't know deep down that you can do it, let me know it for you. And if you don't know where to even start, let me help you take that very first, maybe scary, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 step. I believe in you, and I believe in your ability to unlock all the magic and joy that your amazing life has to offer. Now, go let me your way to your next adventure.